So in the intro of the video, which I'm probably gonna end up cutting out, then I ended up saying some things that ended up being wrong, and I also didn't mention something which you've probably noticed by now. I now have a Sona. So hello there. This is my Sona thing. I don't exactly know what to call it. Anyways, then it's gonna be in this video, and I want to know how you guys feel about it. If you don't like it, then I don't have to use it in future videos. I just want to test out how this works. And with that, let's get on to the guidelines of the ranking video. The first one, which you'll hear me talk about during when I rank V, because I completely forgot to say this in the original video. So you might not get what I'm saying when I talk about V with how I didn't mention this, because now I did. But in the original one, then just know I didn't mention it. Anyways, what I'm going to mention is I am going after a casual player's view of the game, not somebody who knows how to play this. Because this is a ranking video, and if I was going off of a pro, pretty much everybody would be at the number 1 spot, and Building Man would be in dead last. But he gets higher on the list because this is the average player. Anyways, then I also have a few more guidelines. Well, not exactly the guidelines, but you get it. Like the fact that I will be showing my tier lists, because yes, this is a tier list, but it's a ranking instead of a tier. No, it's not a tier list, it's a ranking. So yeah. And then the tier lists will be at the end of their respective section. I do actually put the survivor one at the end of the video next to the killer one, but that's besides the point. So with this long intro, I guess let's get started with the video. And starting off, then we have last place at the number 12 spot, which is Noob. He's a basic survivor and can be useful, although he's still very situational, and just his abilities are generally situational, and they require insane knowledge like where the killer is, and if they have their punish abilities ready, or just when their ability cooldowns end, really, for the main part. And it's just not good unless if you're in a very specific scenario, or you have like a friend who's like a nerd being chased by the killer right now and can tell you when his abilities are off cooldown. So generally, Noob just isn't the greatest pick, especially not for a new player, so it kind of sucks that he's the most basic survivor, technically. Alright, next one in number 11 spot is Taff. While they can be useful, then they mostly just end up being an annoyance to the killer with weaker support. Taking care of them early isn't very hard, so if you don't let them set up traps, you will likely not struggle against Taffs. They kind of just rely on basic survivor knowledge, like looping or stamina management, rather than their actual abilities like later characters in this list. So they don't have much defense, and it's like Builder Man but with weaker support. Next one is Veronica, and they used to be strong, but they used to be strong at both surviving and supporting, but now they end up being kind of mild at both. Like, you gotta keep in mind, I am mainly going after the eyes of an average player, not a pro V. So I forgot to say that at the start of this list. Again, I completely forgot to do this in the original intro, but you already know this. With that, and then just let my yapping continue. Pro Noob, just any of that. We're going after the average player experience. So, with that out of the way, then if the killer just destroys paintings, which are kind of hard to hide after the many nerfs to maps, spots, and their abilities, then you don't have much. Like, the amount of maps that have nerfed these hiding paints, like, it's just insane. Like, Cool Carnival used to be one of the best spots, but now there's like 3 old really great spots that have been nerfed to the ground, and you can't exactly use them that much anymore. Anyways, then the only reason they aren't lower is because they can heal during chase, but it still doesn't save them that much. You know, like they just kind of. Sorry, this is my first time going off of a script. I don't do this at all. Anyways, next is N7. Honestly, they can be great, but again, we are looking at the average player who will land few body blocks and likely have no clue how to use N7 at all. They are very strong in the right hand, but land low when not used with complex and well thought out moves. So with the script out of the way for him, then I would also like to mention something, which is that cool GUI also requires complex and thought out gameplay and mind games. Just in general, he's pretty bad in the casual hands of anybody, unless in LMS, where it's a lot easier to play mind games. Next at the number 8 spot is Builderman. He's a great support to have on the team, but has almost no survivability for himself, and if dealt with instantly, really won't be much of a deal. He still has great support though, which is what gets him so high on this list. At the number 7 spot, then we have Guest 1337. We finally get into the Sentinels, and Guest is probably the worst. That's not to say they are bad by any means, but blocks are mostly inconsistent, and attempting to land a parry is insanely hard in an average player's hand. Reacting is possible, but hard, especially with recent nerfs like not being able to get a punch from Mass Infection or Gashing Wound. That's right, to all you Guest mains out there, you can't get a free punch from Gashing Wound anymore. And low-key, I like that change because I can play Slasher in normal casual lobbies now. Speaking of Slasher, we'll get into him in the killer list next. But that's not where the Sentinels end, as at the number 6 spot, then we have Shedletsky. And he's really a decent Sentinel. He has a mostly consistent slash when used properly, and a free heal if you aren't getting chased. Although there's one thing holding Shedletsky back, and that thing is his range. Shedletsky has terrible range, so unless you manage to get the killer to come close to you, the slash is insanely difficult to land. That kind of sums up Shedletsky gameplay right there. So let's just go to the number 5 spot, which is Dusakar. He's an amazing support, but at the cost of having almost no survivability for himself. He solely relies on the team to stay alive, and that doesn't happen much. You are also very likely to get targeted quickly, so unless you happen to have insane juking and possibly looping skills, then you can't really survive that long. And yeah, that pretty much sums up Dusakar gameplay too, because he just solely relies on the team, like I said, because he almost always gets targeted instantly. Like, I'm not kidding when I say this guy probably gets targeted more than Elliot. Yes, he has arguably better support in some people's eyes, but just, I don't know. Next person, which is Chance. Chance is an awesome Sentinel, owning both a ranged stun and a chance to get the highest health in the game. But did you hear it? I only said Chance. Ha ha ha, it's his name. But on a serious note, he spends around half the round just re-rolling his health on average. So with good support and survivability, it comes at the cost of not being able to do much at the start of the round. Okay. This one might get some of you mad that they went at number 1. And might get some of you mad that number 1 isn't in this spot. 2-Time is in number 3. Do I have to explain? Yes, they have gotten some nerfs, but that doesn't change the fact they have an insane stun with a relatively low cooldown and a second life. On top of all that, then they have an insane passive where they gain health on stab. Even if you just simply hit a front stab, you get an extra 10 HP, and a back stab is even crazier with a plus 20 HP buff. That's right, if you're at 60 HP and you happen to backstab the killer, now you technically started the round with 100 HP already, which is the average for somebody like Shadletsky, who has a way riskier heal because they have to be away from the killer and so they can't just do it mid-chase. It's basically Veronica's health, but even better because you get a free stun out of that too, or at the very least free helpless to the killer. So no matter what happens, there's really not a downside to hitting a stab as 2-time, even if it's a front stab. Alright, now that I got my 2-time rant out of the way, then we have the number 2 spot, which goes to Jane Doe. That's right, you might be surprised that they aren't at number 1, but I don't know, maybe not. You may have expected her to go to the number 1 spot, but she still does require some skill to properly use. Still, a heavenly sentinel with decent support and insane survivability. Overall, a great survivor for her to play while still being a semi-challenge to use. The reasoning why she's still a semi-challenge is because her crystal is somewhat hard to land still, and the same goes with her hatchet because nobody's really used to the lunge, unless if you've been maining Jane Doe since the start, which is very hard to do. Alright. If this one surprises you, that Elliot's in the top 3, which I put him as number 1, I'd love to hear why in the comments. Anyways, Elliot has a heavenly heal with a solid 20 to 45 HP heal. Most of the time the team is doing generators, and you will heal almost half the average survivor's health if all the generators are done. And you know, with how many guests there are in the game, that's not very hard to have all the generators done. Anyways, on top of all of this, then Elliot has an insane ability that gives him divine survivability. All of this makes him, in my opinion, the best survivor in Forsaken. So, that ability is, of course, Rush Hour, as it literally just gives you a free speed 3 boost. Is there anything else? Is there anything else to say? Not hearing anybody. Alright. We can get onto the Killers tier list. For those of you wondering, here is, well, I shouldn't say tier list for the Killers. I should, actually that's what it is. It's a tier list. What am I saying? Anyways, for my survivors, here's my actual tier list, like the most commonly used one on Tier Maker. So yeah, in case you were wondering what my survivor tier list looks like, that's that one. And on to the Killers, which in the number 7 spot is Cool Kid. You might be wondering why my mic suddenly sounds different. That's because this is an entirely different recording. So it turned out the gameplay footage that I recorded wasn't long enough, and I really didn't want to redo all of the gameplay in the background because I had some pretty good moments, and not like it really matters anyways, but I just didn't want to play the game for an extra 30 minutes because I didn't play for long enough. So instead, what I'm going to do is just show you my tier list of the Killers, and well, I can't exactly explain why I like them now, unfortunately, because of this change. But yeah, unfortunately, then I just spent way too much time talking about the Killers, and I didn't have enough time to fit that into the video. So you'll just have to look at my tier list and comment below if you want a reasoning or something. I can just type out the exact thing that I had in my script. But yeah, I hope that you still enjoy the video though. But here's the tier list. So yeah, here you go. That's my killer tier list right there on the screen. If you want a side-by-side comparison next to my survivor tier list, here that is too. Sorry to have a disappointing ending to the video. I didn't realize that until I got this far into editing, but yeah. Oh well. In case you're wondering why me, the Sona, wasn't used that much, it was a lot to edit me, so I didn't want to do an insane amount of editing. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope to see you in the very next one. bye.